relaxing, ain't it? "2,000 people watch me every night. Have that very harsh complex will you bring me a drink, please?"
Yeah, not a problem, man. Oh, Chad. Didn't see yous over there. Welcome back to another episode of Waydes World. Proudly brought to you by Wade himself, in accordance to the truth. Now everything said is based on individual experience or individual research. So thank you all for coming on and tuning on in. So from here on out, let's open the door to the next episode. Welcome to Waydes World. So kia ora, and welcome to Waydes World episode number 5. We are in season 3 of Breaking the Matrix. We've moved on from surviving the Matrix because we don't need to survive it anymore. We're here to break it, and we're here to rebuild a new world as such. So, on today's episode number 5, we have, as all the guests are, they're always very special to me. So, but this is a lovely lady that I met back in 2020 at the second protest in Aotea Square in Auckland City, standing up against the COVID restrictions, obviously. And then, here we are in 2022. She's got a bit of a story to tell, so I thought I'd get her on and pass on the story that needs to be told to awaken everyone else. So I'll pass it over to her and she can introduce herself. So welcome.
Kia ora. Wow. So good to be here. Finally, I'll just do a little introduction who I am. Ko Mikayla Moore tuku ingoa, he uri ahau no Ngāti Whakeke, me Ngāti Moerewa, Patukeha. I am just so overwhelmed, actually, just to finally be able to jump on with Wade, as you said, that we met at one of the protests, and I was actually still serving in the military, and I was going against
Directive.
The directive and military, and it was my time to stand, and I just feel like I'm ready to share a bit more about myself and my story and where I am headed, as well as the massive healing journey that it's taken me to get to where I am, as in exiting the Matrix.
Awesome.
So, did I say my name? I did.
Yeah, you did. So for everyone, Mikayla, if you didn't catch it. I guess first things first out of that, and I know that we've spoken about this off camera a little bit, but military wise, obviously that has, I guess, opened your eyes to a lot of things around the world before you even started to heal or started the healing journey. We'll start there, really, but I'm going to ask you, but what did the military do for you in your awakening experience, or what has it opened up externally for you?
Well, the military is let's start there. I was in about 8.5 years. My love for the ocean, hene moana, tangaroa, was what called me to the Navy, and as well as my grandfather serving in the Air Force. And so entering into the military world, I just saw the love for travel and the experiences I was going to gain. Heard the money was good as well, and I had just come out of a breakup, and I had moved to Australia, and that's kind of what pulled me into coming back home, back to New Zealand, because I was missing all my whānau, and I joined the Navy. My mum, gave me the nudge, and I just saw all the travel, the fun, the exciting things I was going to do, meet a lot of people. And yeah, I took the leap, and it's kind of led me to experience a lot of traveling. I did a lot of learning overseas through my own solo traveling. But Navy obviously helped balance me out within being in such a confined military world, and then I was able to travel and kind of live freely. And that's kind of when I started discovering myself and my own healing. And yeah, it's brought me here
Brought you here
to
on this where you are now, aren't you? Hasn't it? It has.
kind of understand the different worlds that I had been living with these two lives. Yeah.
Well, because the life you're living now is something of pretty much direct opposite to what military life is, isn't it?
Definitely. And so many people were always wondering, what are you doing in the military? You know,
it was my question to you, I think, first too. I think what are you doing there?
They all saw me, they're like, what are you doing here? What are you doing in the military? And I'm like, just having fun and, exploring. And I think a lot of us were looking at each other like, what are we doing here?
So obviously with the Navy, your journey around the world, you would have seen a few sites, and you would have seen a few I would say you would have seen the ins and outs of the world, a little bit different to being stuck down a little old New Zealand down here, eh?
Yeah, I did. I was really drawn to certain countries. And now looking at it where I am in the space that I'm in now of my healing, they were past lives that I was living out of these countries. And so they all have stories of my own internal lives, many lives that I've lived. And I just saw the beauty in these countries, specifically the countries I went to was like South America, the Asian countries, really just drawn to the love that was in these places. People look at them as quite poverty and that kind of realm, but I saw the heart of the people. Like they weren't confined by this matrixy system as much as us here.
So what do you see? Obviously we're diving in pretty deep here, but what do you see in the differences before we go into your healing journey and things like that? But the differences of the way, I guess, New Zealand views the world compared to what the world really is. Is there any big difference, in the way that New Zealanders use the world?
I think this is the same for every country you go to, but I feel like we have it quite hard.
Yeah.
Our country, it's so deep. It's so deep. It's so deep. The control and the programming of our people, specifically Māori Pacifica as well.
Yeah.
As well as everyone else. But
Sorry, no, carry on.
I see the depth, and we hold a lot of ancient history and stories here, and so we've been embedded a lot with deep. With
the deep indoctrination, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The indoctrination. Well, New Zealand is a little bit, I guess that's why a lot of us get shit, and we get called sheep and so forth, and how New Zealanders love sheep so much. It sort of, not being stink or anything like that, but it sort of makes sort of opens your eyes to kind of what they meant, or the meaning behind it. That's what I've noticed, even between living in Australia and New Zealand, how compliant New Zealand is.
Definitely.
And how we just don't question the narratives as such, and we sort of just sit back and she'll be right. Well, then that takes us into sort of 2020, I guess. You know, you sort of we met in Aotea Square. So what drew you to sort of putting down that military label and standing up for the people? I know that's what the military are there for, and you guys are here to protect the people of our country. But what made you sort of go, nah, fuck it, I've got to go out and do something? You know, what did the government do that crossed the line for you?
It was obviously the vaccine itself
Yep.
did it for me. The whole lockdown, the whole pandemic. Sorry, I'm gonna speak like that now because this is my truth.
Yeah.
Um, um, I could just see for what it was. You know, when your gut, your instinct is telling you that this is not okay and this is not right. And the help of doing my own research and starting to explore the whole lockdown and things like that, that's what really shook me. And I just knew I had to make a stand. Like I felt like I was given this massive task to go out there and do something. And so I had to find the courage and the strength to understand that I was living in a military world. And, you know, for us going to protest and things like that, it was not, there's a lot of fear instilled into us through the start of your training, really, that you cannot use your voice and you can't, you know, step out of yourself. And I did it just by going to that protest, and I just gained so much mana for myself that, like, oh, don't mess with me, you know, I just wanted to pukana and you know, so that really helped me, is listening to myself.
Yeah.
Listening to the calling. You'll feel it in your heart when you know that something's not right. And yeah, then it's just finding the strength and the courage to move, to make that first step, right?
Yeah, it's a big step, isn't it? Like I always said to a lot of people, getting from typing something on the computer on social media to stepping out the front door and going down to protest is it's a huge step, and it takes a lot more than what people actually realize. And you know, like I knew that, you know, my first protest was the one the week before, the one I met you at, and that was the very first protest in New Zealand, to do with the lockdowns. And I just knew, like, I was like, fuck, I don't know how many people are going to be there, but like, there's nothing else I can do at this point in time. Like,
You just know, right? Yeah.
I've just got to get out there. And when I went down and saw that there was 13 of us at the very first one, it was just like, oh, okay. Like, what do we got to do now then? You know, like what do we got to do now to show the people that what's happening is wrong?
Yeah. And it's incredible, right? Like meeting someone else who feels the same way that you're feeling. There's so much power in that, because it ignites you and it makes you build that strength to, like, know that you're not alone and there's someone else feeling exactly the same as you. Yeah, it's beautiful when you can collectively come together and move together
And work together. It's something that you touched on right there is meeting people that, you know, that are on the same wavelength for us, or the same frequency or vibration, if you want to call it that. You know, meeting those people definitely gives you that extra boost. You know, I guess for a lot of people, if you're out there listening, you know, it's one of those things that even if you do think you're alone, once you do start meeting these people, you'll start to realize that you're far from alone. You are far from alone.
Then it becomes a party.
Yeah, it does. It does. And we saw that in the first 2 weeks of Wellington, not going to lie. Well, the first at least week in Wellington of this year. So,
because
sorry, carry on.
everyone's, you know, you start meeting the same vibration as you, and you just, oh, it's so magnetic. It's so magnetic when you meet
Yeah.
this like-minded souls.
Starts drawing you towards people, and you actually get into this place of really feeling, you know, well, I know for me anyway, I don't feel alone anymore. For
Yeah.
for 22 years I was out searching out this shit and didn't even know who was on my team or who not. But
Oh, wow.
you know,
Wow.
you can see
Can't
who's
even
out
imagine
there now.
the
Yeah.
journey. Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking journey. It is what it is though. Eh? It's life. This is what we got to do, and this is what we're here for.
This is it. This is it right
Yeah.
here. Hey,
Now, you brought up a couple of past life regressions, didn't you, earlier?
I
A
did.
couple of spots you've been in the world where you were obviously living in a past life. But to a lot of people out there, they still think this is hocus pocus, and you know, sort of things that are supernatural or demonic even is a word that gets tossed around a lot. I know the journey that you're on, and I know that the journey that you're doing is to heal a lot of New Zealanders out there, and you know, Mother Gaia herself too, or Papa Tuanuku, to heal her as well. So you know, to the ones that are out there that do think what you do is sort of a little bit different, or doesn't work along the mainstream.
Witchy. They're
Yeah,
all witch.
the witchy poos. What do you have to say around that? You know, like I know you can go into
I
depth in it,
just,
and I would
yeah.
like you to. So
Have an open heart, have an open mind, stay curious, because when you have a closed mind or closed heart, you're not going to learn anything or understand anything. You need to, it's like, it's that inner child. I always come back to inner child, is remembering what the things you used to do when you were a kid, the things that you loved. For me, it was being out in nature and understanding my own gifts as well. Everyone has their own gifts, and for me, my gifts are in the wider realm, the spiritual realm. I can connect to our tupuna, connect to many different things, and I get given tasks and able to channel, and this is normal. Okay, this is normal. It's been so suppressed, our gifts, and through the Talking of Suppression Act, you know, it's really, yeah, it's deep. It's suppressed everybody and their gifts, and as well as that mind control of the matrix world. And so through healing, you will start to understand yourself and your own gifts that you have. We all individually have gifts. And what was your question?
no, that's all good.
I'm
You
sorry,
pretty much
I go on such a
no, that's
journey
all
to
good.
where it goes. Hey,
You go wherever you need to go. That's, you know, this is what this is about. It's about,
yeah,
you know, it's the quantum entanglement, really. It's the entanglement that happens throughout all our lives. Like, in order to get to one thing, we need to go through something else in order to get
yeah,
there, and then when we get to that point, we need to go through that in order to get to somewhere else. So
that's it. And
you know,
so through healing, you will start to understand yourself and know that you have these different gifts. Many can communicate in their dreams, and telepathically. Yeah, when you start being open-minded and curious and just start exploring, you know, YouTube something about it. Remember your own experiences you've had as a kid. Maybe you had bad dreams. Like I used to always have a lot of bad dreams. Then you can start from there, and then you start healing. And then healing opens a whole nother journey of realizing and understanding who you are. Yeah, it all comes back to self and a healing journey of being open-minded to all aspects of you.
So where do we, you know, I guess, you know, like I've obviously done my healing. Well, I'm on my healing journey also as well. But where do people start? You know, like I know where I've started, and you know, I went through post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and depression really bad, and I know for myself I had to accept it for what it was.
Yeah.
And then when I accepted it, I started to move forward. And I know everyone's different out there, but is there any sort of anything that you may suggest for people to start with, or you know, if you want to go and you know
Yeah.
start remembering who you are, you know,
Yeah.
is there anywhere where
Yeah, that's a really great one, is first accepting
Yep.
accepting it. And then I think I like to go back to simplicity and doing things with simpleness. Yeah, simpleness even a word.
yeah
Simple, because there's so much stuff out there nowadays that they have kind of pulled you into this a whole another realm, whereas we need to go back to the basics, which is nature.
yeah it's like they've overcomplicated things, like they've
made it,
overcomplicated
yeah,
it
they've manipulated everything,
to confuse us, to
mess with
throw us in
you,
the deep end.
yeah, through having to do all these courses, go and
Yeah.
yeah, going back out in nature, taking your shoes off, planting your feet into Papatuanuku, connecting with nature is where you will help and find some answers. You can even just going for a swim. This is how simple it is.
Walk through the bush.
To start a healing journey if you're open to it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then once they start healing, isn't it, they just the world starts opening up.
The world starts opening up, and it's magic, but it's really important as well to have safety. Firstly, it's like listening to your intuition and where you are guided to open up a realm of say inner child healing. Okay, then I'm going to go on YouTube and have a look and see what's this inner child things. Oh, okay, there's a meditation there. Okay, I'm going to do a meditation. And before you go into that space, I always come back to karakia, having a safe prayer, just to set the intention before you go into that space, because once you open that space, a lot of things can drop in, whether it may be intergenerational trauma or just some bad energy. You want to be able to protect yourself and be safe. So that's important one, having karakia, as well as having the right people around you to open up to. There's so much power in being able to just talk to someone that you trust, and there's healing in just that through speaking.
Oh yeah, like I speak out enough to heal, I think, the world at the moment.
Powerful, right? The voice.
It is.
And
yeah, it is.
I'm just rediscovering my voice because it's been so suppressed through the military.
Yeah.
So this is good.
I think I really started to see you open up more once Mercer came along.
Oh yeah. Mercer.
Once Mercer.
Mercer was a whole nother wow. Can I say a little something about Mercer?
Yeah, go hard.
I was guided by my tupuna that I had some big task ahead of me, and so I was sent into the bush to go and do my practices, rituals and swimming and karakia and things like that. And I had no idea where I was going. I knew something big was about to happen. And so for a whole week, I was just like waiting, okay, something's coming now. And then this whole sovereign hikoi of truth came up.
Yep.
And I'm like, boom, that is exactly where I'm headed.
Yep.
And so that took me on a journey, all of us on an incredible journey. There's a lot of purging in that one, a lot of healing for everybody.
Yeah, because you guys were you guys were still up north. Well, you guys were up on the north of Auckland when we all got stopped down at the south, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it was this big call out, like, we need yous down here now, and fuck, did yous come? Like,
Yeah.
and that's one thing too, like that. I guess people outside of what we've been doing for the last nearly 3 years now don't see, and it's how we've worked together.
That's
Like with just Mercer's was a huge sort of example of us all working together, where like we got they all got stopped coming through the border. We're on the Auckland side of the Mercer border. You guys are waiting for us up in north, the north of Auckland. One phone call and you guys are on your way. Like this, we don't know what yous can do. We don't know what we can do. But whether you're there in support, moral support or not,
yeah.
was the most positive thing.
It
And then
was
how many weeks do we end up being down there?
I have no idea.
It was a while.
It was a while. Couple months, I think.
I think it was about
no. Sorry, when we stopped at Te Po with Papa, that was another 2 months, but
yeah, that was 2 months. So
2 to 3
that
months. I feel like this is a whole nother podcast, This Mercer China is so massive.
Yeah, the whole adventures of the last 2-3 years that we've been involved in it's insane. Like when you actually look at it, like the amount of traveling we've done around New Zealand, the amount of standing up and being like I've always said, being civil disobedient to unjust laws in the last 3 years have been absolutely phenomenal. And in some points you got to touch wood as well that people like us haven't been arrested along the way at the moment. We've had a few close calls, but
I think
too major.
No one's afraid. We're not afraid anymore, right? And when you're not afraid and you don't live in fear, you can't be touched.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's just how it is that the universe just guides us.
It guided us all there. Like fuck,
our tupuna are working some magic. Honestly, they are incredible. What they are doing up there.
And then what we, like obviously, there's a lot of, our past life, what we're talking about before, the healing, the regressions, and you were saying, a lot of stuff came out of Mercer and a lot of stuff came out for, obviously for myself as well through Mercer.
Yeah.
But what I think it also did is it sort of, in my opinion, it gave people that, like we do actually have some power. Like as much as fucking nothing really got, we didn't get through or break through there. It showed the unity within the people, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was so powerful. It was magic. Oh.
Yep. And then what do we have? A couple of months later. Hello, Wellington.
Hello, Wellington. Oh man, Wellington. It's a whole nother podcast too, that one.
That is another one too. And I am going to actually, I will mention it now while we're doing it. I'm going to get a few of you all together and we're all going to sit down as a group of us and do one big podcast on Wellington, because there was a lot that went on there.
Wouldn't even know where to start with that. Yeah.
No, well, not at the Fire and Fury documentary. That's one thing. But you done a lot of healing work down there too, didn't you? You weren't just down there to stand up against the government. You weren't just down there to have your say. You done a lot of wider work down there too, didn't you?
Yeah. It was big. It was massive. I was obviously guided again by my same tupuna, who saying what I needed to do, and it was just holding the light.
Yeah.
Holding the light, and we were getting attacked from everywhere. There was darkness coming from everywhere, and the power of what we all did collectively, it was magic. through our singing, through our voices, through all faiths, religions connecting together. But that just, I don't know, it set a tone. Just knowing that we are all one people and us coming together as one from all corners of New Zealand, it really set the tone for our country and for the rest of the people to know that they're not alone and this is it and shit's happening.
Yeah, it's going down. It's going down big time.
It's going down. We're in the age of Aquarius, right? And phew.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky. Like I think that was your tapuna coming to see me that got you out of there just in time, I think.
Yeah.
I was just actually thinking about that. I think I got you out the day or two before, didn't I?
Yeah. No, I came out about lunchtime. I actually got a phone call too, not good phone call. So
yeah, that's right.
They were telling me I needed to go.
Yeah.
But
we knew something was coming.
Yeah, what went down there was next level.
I know.
It was it was an integral part though of where we
are. It needed to happen.
That needed to happen.
Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately,
shine the light on the mind fuckery, the control of the government to the people who have the heart and just wanting to be heard.
Yeah.
It showed these two worlds, you know, it was there right in our faces. And everyone's like, holy hell, what's going on?
It's all here for us. It's all right in front of us.
Us to see, to wake up right there. And so many people woke up on that day, right?
Yeah. I
wouldn't say like wake up, but you know, they had this heart connection with that moment of our people being attacked by this government.
I know, and it's, you know,
physically,
physically, mentally, everything. They attacked us, you know. Even in the unseen, they pretty much microwaved us while we were down there too. So you know, being stuck in a frequency microwave as well, and being pushed around, and you know, all that shit on the last day there. Like you said, it needed to happen, because also from the end of that to now, I believe that you know, humanity's, you know, especially humanity, New Zealanders as such, of that we're aware or awake around then have grown even more since then, because you know, they've just learned to heal themselves a little bit more, and you know, then they're also, a lot of people just don't care anymore. They've just gone past the caring what other people think phase.
Yeah, and that's when we're finding that individuality, as in knowing who we are as individual people, and you know, not tolerating any more bullshit.
No more bullshit.
Too much of this following, like, oh, you know, looking to people that they're above me and I must be down here, and you know, but we are all one. We need to be on the same wave and individually find ourselves through healing.
Absolutely. Now you do a lot of things in the Māori realm, don't you?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of stuff,
now
don't you? Yeah, now and then you get yourself get yourself in there. But you know, I guess, you know, same as me. We're half caste. We're sort of stuck in a world that is, you know, I can see from my point of view anyway. I don't know about yourself, but that now we're having this division of Māori and Pākehā, when not being, you know, not trying to tear down Māori history at all. I'm Māori enough. I'm fucking proud to be Māori. But it's a point of seeing that we're not trying to work together now. We're all mixed, and that's just my opinion. But I don't know what everyone else's opinion out there is. But I believe we've got to find a way of working together, and realize that it's the corporation or the government that's done this to all of us.
Done this to every single one of us, eh?
Yeah.
We've all colonized each other.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Yes.
No, we have.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have.
We
Where,
have.
where do you see New Zealand going from here on out, or where would you like to see New Zealand going from here on out?
I see such beautiful things happening for our country. I know where it's headed. There's going to be full of a lot of sanctuaries, a lot of love, a lot of fruit trees. That's where we're headed. But we have to go through this massive purging of self, our own healing journey. It all comes back to healing and doing the work on ourselves. Until we can do that, we can't move forward, because that's that energy, that's that heavy, dense, karmic energy that's holding us down from moving forward. And so the more of us that can heal and do work on ourselves and just own it, they will.
We can start to really move forward together
into building the new world of our country. New
but old. Yeah, absolutely. It's about finding balance now, isn't it? We've got to find that balance between the new and the old, and finding a way in between to make something work and to make it work, because we can.
Yeah.
You know, I say to a lot of people out there that even question me, and about not having a government. Like, the government doesn't come and wake you up to go to bed, go to work in the morning. The government doesn't pick up your tools or do the work for you. We make this country work. They don't. And until people realize that, we're not really going to move on through, are we? We're not going to get through that too much. Sure. So sorry about that. A little bit of technical difficulties there. We had a little bit of a skip and a jump there, thanks to the old internet. Thank you, Mr. Internet Man, upstairs.
It was all my fault, guys. Let's just say
that. You're not supposed to let the cat out of the bag. It's all good.
Not my charger.
So anyway, where we were with Wellington, and I guess we will do a more of a in-depth podcast into Wellington with a few other people that attended Wellington in the coming time. But I just want to get your individual I guess opinion, or what you saw and how you felt about what went down on that final day of Wellington. Day 23, the fateful day where stuff have gone out and done a nice little propaganda documentary towards. What were your thoughts and feelings on that final day, watching that from afar? Because I know you weren't there at that stage.
It was mental. Because it started, I think I'm sure that was the day where it started early in the morning, about 3 or 4 in the morning. That's when we were all up. And
my phone started going off. I think it was about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Pretty sure it was that day. So everyone was high on energy, because things started kicking off, through the whole Wellington gig. They were getting us up like all hours of the night. And but that day it just didn't feel real. I mean, no, I was like, what the heck is going on right now? You had to step back. And so when things started to go down, like fully, with the them starting to bust down the whole middle section, that's when I had a phone call and I had to shoot home for some whānau reasons. Had a passing in the family, and so my mind was in two worlds from there on out, and I was trying to drive home. I was emotional wreck, crying all the way back to Kaikohe, 10-hour trip, as well as sitting on the lives, and checking in on, seeing what's going down. So how do you even explain what happened there, right? It's all the screaming and
it was a big emotional time, I think, for a lot of people that were involved as well. Like
Yeah.
I was already fucking real crook, so everyone sort of knows how crook I got.
Yeah.
I was
Give it
sick for
up.
about eight weeks after that protest, from all the frequency and microwaving that I'd been in the middle of. But like I know for myself, sitting back, I was sitting in Taupo at that stage and just sitting on outside watching what was going on, and like it hurt me that I couldn't get there, but I know that even if I'd been there, there was nothing I could have done anyway. It was, it's the way that it went. It was what's happened. We'd seen, all over the world, protesters being treated like this, from Canada to Australia to now New Zealand. So it was,
We were all going through it together.
yeah. And it's something that, people don't even realize right now. And I tell a lot of people now, like how involved in history that is going to be now. That is ingrained in New Zealand history. Like you can't take that away from New Zealand history.
Yeah.
It's
massive.
Yeah, it was a huge thing. And I even saw an article today that was written about how the police have even come out and said that since their handling of the protest in Wellington, that the feeling towards the police from the public has become more negative, towards the people. And I'm not saying, everyone needs to go out there and be negative towards the police, but it shows exactly what the public's response to what happened.
It shows the divide,
Yeah.
right down the middle.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, and I really feel for our cops and our police, because the whole time, like, so I was doing all the live footage and pumping out so much footage. It was next level. And while I was recording these lives, I was able to tune in on a different frequency than the hype that was happening, and with the anger coming this way, and the love and the crying, and yeah, it was just next level. And so I was able to tap into this neutral space of moving amongst the people, to be able to catch all of these emotions and the feelings that people were feeling, especially with our police, being confronted by their own people. And they're obviously there for, to pay the rent, put kai on the table. And I get that, but it was really emotional to witness, because they were having the cops were having their own experiences within as well. They just couldn't vocally speak because they're not allowed to, and so it's making me emotional actually now, just thinking about it, because it was so touching to see the healing that was taking place in Wellington. It was massive. Yeah,
it was huge. I've got a
I'm like gonna cry.
Well, it's all the emotion coming back up, isn't it? We know what we've been through. So
just the feeling. I could feel the heaviness of the people. But it was powerful.
How many days were you there for in total?
I think it came 22, 23 days. I was just sleeping in my car with my beautiful magical kuri, Rehua. He was my po, my dog. Just keeping me grounded, and I was running down to the beach all the time, and hugging trees. My kuri was out there playing with all the kids, so I had my po to keep me grounded during that whole experience. Yeah. A lot of incredible people we met too.
Oh yeah.
So many different people from all different, backgrounds. But all there for the one, all there for the one same reason. Well,
sort of the same, all the same reason.
There's many kupapa out there too.
Depending what team you're on, eh?
We're feeding the flame,
yeah. No, there's definitely that, and I, for me, it was that first 2 weeks of Wellington was absolutely amazing. And then that final 2 weeks, it just all the energy changed there, the way that it sort of felt like, you wanted to be there for the people and that, but at the same time, it just felt like there was something not quite right there anymore. But anyway, that was Wellington. We'll dive into that, a lot more deeper in the coming weeks, because we'll get a few of us on here and really dive into Wellington from a protester's perspective rather than a journalist who sat up in the bleachers the whole time's perspective. So we'll dive into that. But
love to hear their journey when they come out of it.
Oh yeah, I reckon that'd be very interesting.
Like when they awaken to what they were actually a part of.
Yeah, like when they realize what they've been writing, and they may already know that they're just full of crap. But
we're just their voice.
Yeah, but what's their consciousness saying to them? Like, that's what I always ask too. To this mainstream and to the police and to the people who are so-called politicians and things like that are supposed to work for the people. Like, what's your consciousness saying to you? Because when we do something bad, we kind of feel bad for it. When you're lying to a whole country, what's your consciousness saying to you? What's your Wairoa saying to you? What's your Tapuna out there saying to you? It's very it's not concerning. It's just like, fuck, you've really tuned out from the world that's that you were given, pretty much.
Definitely. What was it for you? What was your experience like on the last day?
Oh, like for me, I actually posted a photo on the last day. I'm actually walking through the bush barefoot, no shirt on, towards the end of summer.
About to do the haka.
Oh yeah, about to do the haka. No, but for me, I had to go out in that bush that day and get the sun and get the get all the nature into me, because one, I was crook as all hell. Like, I had radiation poisoning to the fucking brim. And a lot of people don't actually realize. So I had radiation poisoning for between 8 to 10 weeks up until after the protest. And the reason why my radiation poisoning was so bad compared to a lot of other people is because I actually have like metal plates and screws and stuff inside me. So the metal in that actually holds onto the radiation and slowly release it back into the body. So I was quite sick, but I got out in the bush. Yeah. Too many broken bones. But yeah, got out in the bush. I had the live stream on as best as I could out in the bush as well, and just like it was the only place I wanted to be, because of I just wanted to be there to help the people out. But I knew that even if I'd got in the car and driven the 3.5 hours from Taupo to Wellington, it was, what was I going to do anyway?
And it was beautiful because there was so many healers that I know, they were doing their work from their home. Just pouring so much love and pouring their light, and their guides and their ancestors were working their magic from wherever they were, even though they weren't at Wellington. So many people were playing their part in that happened.
Everyone did.
Whole event.
I have to fucking agree on that, absolutely. But yeah, so after that, after Wellington, I spent 8-10 weeks really, really sick. Not sleeping. Sleeping was very up and down. That was probably the main thing. I was always tired, fatigued. Just even my skin color was off. Lots of little things I picked up on, and obviously Jim picked up on a lot of things as well because of being like that. And and then it was one afternoon I ended up getting this, it sounds pretty weird, but I ended up getting a blister on the inside of my heel. And it just let out all this like clear gunky, and then when that came out, it was like all the radiation had left the body. So we got on the healing journey then, and then back to it. So
it's crazy. Hey, it seems like everybody was out after Wellington. It hit us. I was out for about a month, a month or so, just out in the bush and swimming every day, every morning, because they really tried to fuck us up, man.
Oh, they did big time. Yep.
They did. And they used the whole COVID, like that's the reason why we were dropping and we were sick, but it was that bloody radiation.
It wasn't COVID, that's for sure. It definitely wasn't COVID.
No.
We're still searching for that one.
Yeah, we're still. What is it? Yeah.
What is COVID?
Even know what that is. Just a made up name.
Yeah, I think so. Well, from Wellington out now, we're about 6. What are we now? February, March, April, May, June, July, August. We're 6 months out since Wellington. What have you sort of seen now from Wellington onwards? Do you think that Wellington had much of a change on things, or do you think there's still a long way to go?
On another dimensional level, yeah. There's a massive shift that happened.
Agree with that.
There was so much light that cleared up so much of that darkness there. But I don't feel like we got anywhere with we have moved a little bit, but there's still a lot more to go. As in, I don't feel like that was
it.
More big things to come to.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. I'm along the line.
Even though that was massive, it was massive. But yeah, there's more waves to be awakened, and it's currently happening. I think they had that one in Wellington just recently, a couple of days ago, and I was watching the live, and it seemed like there's a whole new lot of energy that was there of new protesters, and then you had the anti-protesters that were there, and it was the divide again. You could just
it was and you know, I've said this before as well, but I'll say it on here as well, is that's what actually, like, I know we stand up for freedom, and I know that we're standing, you know, against this, but that was the most disgusting thing I think I could see from any protest was like protesters protesting protesters.
It's so silly.
Like when you know, because all that showed is that the corporation's winning, or they, if you want to call them, they are winning, because you're standing in front of Parliament, the people that have kept you suppressed and oppressed for how many years of your life, arguing with the same people that are trying to stand. Well, obviously, I don't believe that group of people is actually trying to stand up for people in general. I think they've got their own agenda.
And probably just deep programming.
But what it was the division between the people. Like, you've got this, and it was so significant that you've got this building that is the Parliament building up on the hill just above them, and just below them you've got two groups of people arguing with each other. It just showed how they've divided New Zealand. And people are like, oh, you know, fuck these people, they're protesting against us. No, you should be more concerned of the divide.
Why are they protesting? You know, question.
Like, we should be concerned about the divide. And let's be honest here too, we knew that protest was going to be there. If our protesters had been smart enough, you could have infiltrated their protest too. It was easy. But no one thought about it, you know. But that's what hurt, you know, that's what I looked at and saw out of that protest was, you're now looking at the two groups of people who are both have both been affected by the shit and split down the middle.
The split of the 3D and 5DA, it's getting further apart.
Old fucking politicians are sitting up the top of the hill about 100 meters away, not even that, sitting at their swanky seats and doing what they want to do. And then you got two groups of individuals down there of New Zealanders fighting each other. And
it's sad to say that not everyone's light will turn on in this lifetime.
Absolutely agree with that.
That's just how it is, and sad, but I understand on a deeper level now that many of us have come here to clear only certain parts of our lives, and some will just stay stuck.
Well,
Yeah, not
and
stuck. I don't
yeah,
say stuck, but we'll just stay in that same cycle.
they're going,
And
they're
they
going
keep
on the merry, they're going to go
around.
around the merry-go-round a few more times before they exit out. And you know, it sucks, but like you said there, and it's something that I've had to learn along the way, and it's taught
Accept,
me
hey,
along the way, accepting and like accepting those people for what they are as well and who they
yeah,
are. You
yeah,
know, because yes, they're indoctrinated. Yes, we know that they have been misled into this thing, but that's their choice.
yeah. That's their life's journey,
Yeah,
their soul's journey. Hey,
yeah.
um,
People tell me no, they should just wake up. Well, how did you wake up? You chose to. You know, that very first moment that you woke up and thought, oh, something's not quite right here,
yeah,
and you went and started looking on your phone and you started researching, you made an unconscious choice to wake up. Your subconscious went, it's time. You know, where, you know, these, like you said, is some of these people will never actually wake up, if that's
yeah.
what you want to call it.
Or let's say their light won't turn on. The light bulb.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. The light
light
bulb
won't.
won't turn on. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there is some people out there too that also will need to be you know, they do need a leadership, they do need some sort of guidance.
For that part of their journey. Hey,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's why we could talk about religion and all that, but that's a whole nother story. But I'm saying that religion has played its part.
Yeah,
It has done its job, and now it's time to kind of move away from religion and take our power back within. And we are all the leaders. We are the creators.
yeah.
Each and every one of us, we are God.
Oh, 100% agree with that. You know, we're and I always say too, if we were, even if you look at the story, if we were made in the eyes of God, then we're part of God, then, aren't we? If we're
Yeah.
made in his eyes.
Yeah.
I stand on the point that my two creators are my parents. You know, that I have gods with an S, not a god. And you know, I believe in a higher source, or a higher light, but not in the man-made style. So I do believe that we have a creator up there somewhere, or creator or creators. But yeah, on this plane, my creators are my parents.
Yeah.
So you know, they came together and created life, which is the biggest thing that you could create, in my opinion, anyway.
So ilangi noin papatōnaku. Yeah. I mean, it's even, you know, religion is in everything. They've taken over everything. Religion is like food as well.
Yeah.
They've turned that into a religion. They've turned so much into an actual religion, but it's being able to step away from that and find your individuality.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and understand and find yourself.
Yeah,
You know
100%.
who you are and where you've come from. And you've helped me as well with remember who the fuck you are. I hear you say that quote all the time, and that just stays in my mind, man.
Yeah, a lot of people say that stays in their mind. It's just something
It's
that
powerful. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's
Just
powerful.
one day I just, you know, woke up and I just kept getting repeated that in my head, like, you know, it was just going, remember who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Like, don't, you know, because the way that my head, you know, the way that I talk to myself is it's not negative, but it's people would probably see it as negative, because I'm like, just fucking hurry up, you know, like, you know, it's a lot of swearing in my head at myself, but it's not like self-directed. It's like emphasis words.
Your higher self telling
Yeah,
you.
it's like, fuck, hurry up, bro. You know, like, stop
Sort
mucking
your
around
shit.
here. Yeah, sort your shit out. Like, hurry up, remember who the fuck you are, and then you can get on with the shit. Like, you don't want to be doing this all your life, you know, like,
Yeah.
there's other shit for you to be doing. And, you know, that's, you know, that's where that came from, was just
Yeah.
this understanding that I don't have, my soul is telling me we don't have time to fuck around anymore. At the end of the day,
We're getting the boot up the butt.
yeah,
Our
it's
team
saying you've
is
been,
like, hurry up. You
it's
need to
saying
go
you've
and
been
do
here
this
too
and
many
this and
times.
this. And I'm like, whoa. I need to hug a tree first.
Yeah,
Let
my
me go to
soul's
this
yelling at
one.
me.
I need a break.
Mm.
Yeah.
But do you ever have those moments where your soul's just like, we don't have time? Like it's just time. Like you need to get fucking moving now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Like,
that's where I believe we're at. Yeah.
yeah. And for me internally, I'm shifting so much as in coming out of a military world where I was very connected to, actually, no, I wouldn't say I was connected. I was living two worlds really, but coming out of it and I had a heart activation. That's what pulled me out of that mind control in the military sense. And yeah, since that, we've just all kind of collected, like my journey is different to someone else's, but we were all collectively moving at the same frequency, right? And shifting to this 5D realm of just pure love, and we're all just levitating.
we're all going to be learning to fly soon. I can tell you
We'll be
what.
flying soon. We legit are. Do you know, I had these dreams when I was a little girl. I was always flying.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone else has had these dreams that you were flying when you were, because that's who we are. That's what we were doing.
That's what we were doing. Yep.
We're legit
And
flying.
it's what everyone laughs at me with, because probably for about, I don't know, the last 3 or 4 months, that's what I'm talking about. I'll be like, fuck, I'm gonna fly one day. You guys are gonna look up and I'm gonna be flying, and you guys are gonna be like, what the fuck is going on? So I go out the back and I go practice my landing. Because you look at every superhero movie that bloody comes out. Whenever they learn to do something or land, or, they learn to fly or something, they always crash land the first few times they fly, So I was like, nah, practice the landing first, so that when I'm in the air, I at least know how to land.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because I think of me, I think that I'm like, Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's you're
like, oh, it's how I feel I am sometimes.
Well, you're 100% right, because if you think about it, and you would know this straight
Yeah.
away, your negative energy comes out of your palms and of your heels of your feet.
Yeah.
So the way that Iron Man technically flies is technically how we should fly as well. Be able to.
Yeah, through all our portals and our hands and our feet.
Yep. All that negative energy getting pushed out of our palms and stuff should be able to give us enough force to fly.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind that at all. Be cheaper on travel.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah. Looking forward to it. I can tell
we're
you
all
that.
doing it at the moment, just through telepathically communicating. If you're connected and if you're able to connect in, sorry, I just seen that Kereru, beautiful Kereru.
Oh, there you go.
But if you're able to tap in, and
Yep.
you're able to tune into different frequencies as well as other people, but being safe with it, and that's a whole nother realm actually. I won't talk about that.
But so obviously, obviously talking about, doing the healing work for people, doing the healing work and waking up and on our journey that we're on. I know you also do a lot of work with animals, don't you?
Yeah.
My partner Jim also, she does a lot of work with animals in that healing realm as well. So like, what's I guess the easiest way to put it is what's, when you're healing an animal compared to obviously human, what's the differences that you seem to find in the healing side of things? Obviously we're two different fucking species, but we're also, like, animals are connected to humanity quite closely, very closely as well. So like, do you pick up any in-betweens, or when you're spiritual realm or anything like that?
Well, with animals, they're more in the heart. So
Yeah.
you can connect with them through the heart, whereas humans, we're in the mind, so it's a bit more difficult um to tap in on a deeper level, and unless someone's heart is open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and a lot of our hearts, I like to talk about are closed through our own intergenerational trauma, our own healing, and so that's how I kind of put things, as in animals have such an open heart.
yeah, because you're on
And
quite a good space now, too. Sorry. You're on quite a good space now with a whole lot of animals around in there, aren't you?
yeah. I love communicating with our animals. That's all I did when I was a little girl. I was talking to trees, talking to animals, and I've only just reignited it in the last couple of years through accepting that these are my gifts. Because I was real whakama. I was really shy
Yeah.
about these because I was made to look like I was crazy.
Yeah.
That's just it. That you're crazy if you can do this and do that.
And then yeah,
It
here we
was
are now.
frowned upon, and now I'm just owning it. Like, and me owning it is gonna allow someone else to know that you're not alone. There's other people out there who are sharing their gifts and owning it and acknowledging it. Yeah, but I love animals. I love animals in our nature and trees, and I'm able to communicate with them on another level, and
Yeah.
they're always guiding me as well.
You're always talking to me about the whales and the connection between whales and trees, and how I've got to listen to the ocean a little bit more. Which is probably the truth. I probably listen to the bush too much and not the
Everyone.
ocean.
Oh, everyone. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
it's a beautiful journey, and it's a beautiful connection. It's a relationship. It's a relationship that you build with
It's about working with nature, not against it, and not trying to make it difficult for yourself.
yeah.
Our ancestors knew how to work with the land. They knew how to make do with what they had, and things like that. And
Yeah, they're really, really clever, really
it
clever.
just feels like that we've, with the whole schooling side of things, and the education system, we've lost what we once knew. And it's like on a, like we all really, the whole thing is on that mission or journey of self discovery again, isn't it?
Self-discovery. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Self-discovery. I think those two words are powerful. Self-discovery.
Yeah, because at the end, like I think I just mentioned to you before we came on here about the fear, and that that is still ingrained in people. They're still worried about what someone else is going to think, or what someone else is going to say about what they've said or what they've done or anything like that. Where, like, that's how we've got into this position that we're in today anyway, is by not using our voice, and by not doing the things that we should do, and not stand up against the thing, stand up against the things that we should stand up against. We just have to look, and I'm going down the Māori route here, and you just have to look at the Treaty of Waitangi, right? Is that 3 years after the Treaty of Waitangi was signed, we ended up in the New Zealand land wars, because we realized that they weren't holding, or the treaty didn't really mean jack shit to them, and they weren't doing what they said they were going to do, so we stood up against them. Whereas now in our day and age, fuck, they tell us to pay a fine, and we roll over and say, yeah, we'll pay it, not a problem. 1890s as well, and the Māoris went to war with the government over paying registration for a dog tag. So we've lost this drive. That's what I feel. I think we've been, society has made us that way to we don't want to stand up out of the box. We don't want to be, the person that pokes their head up, because you don't want to have your head shot off. It's
they've trained us this way. They've manipulated everything. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make us,
it just keeps us going in that cycle.
Press the shit out of us. Yeah. I just want to speak on what I'm doing at the moment is I'm getting a lot of messages and my tupuna sending me on a journey of unpacking his story and understanding science. And so I'm in a whole big realm of learning at the moment, because I have to understand, well, we all have to understand the past to know where we are going and the world that we are creating now. And I've been learning so much, as well as the things that are popping up now with our country, and what's hidden is it's deep. It's
Oh,
deep.
yeah.
What's hidden in our whenua. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think you know, we spoke about it too. You've seen what me and Corey are up to. I mentioned shout out to Haka the Beehive out there.
Hey.
You've seen what me and him are sort of up to now, and I guess you can see which path we're sort of heading down. You know, it's of nothing of, and I mentioned this in that podcast too. It was nothing about, you know, again, taking away from Māori history or anything like that. It's actually, if or whatever was here, or is here before, it's a way of, like, it's kind of denying our history in a sense,
Uh-huh.
and denying where we came from. Yeah, it's and that's all that we're trying to uncover. It's not trying to, we're trying to uncover,
That's
you
it.
know,
No.
anything negative or anything, but negativity is going to come along the way with it.
Yeah. And like I say, like for me, being a Māori wahine, and I love all things Te Ao Māori, I've had to do a lot of healing around the trauma that we have with the whole colonization. And so I had to heal that to understand the rest of the world, because it's so much bigger than just Te Ao Māori.
Yeah.
It's the harsh truth. I
Yeah.
just have to say it, that it's a harsh truth, that there's so much more out there. There's other realms, there's other beings, and we need to link all of that up to understand Te Ao Māori today.
Yeah.
And where it's come from. Te Ao Māori is, the Māori world is going to be leading the rest of the world. It is. It's at the forefront, through our reo and our connection to nature. But we are going to be the ones that are, ignite the flame for the rest of the world. And that's why we have been hit hard. Our people, all our kaitiaki, our Māori, our tupuna have been hit hard because we've been protecting so much magic here.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to be the ones that see the first new light too. You know, everyone knows that New Zealand sees the first light. So hopefully, on this wake up, well, when the lights are turning on, we should be like you said, the forerunners of what is going on in the world. We understand what's happened. We were the last to be colonized. We should be the first out.
Yeah.
You know,
in the past, in the present.
yeah, absolutely.
The future, if you in that space,
One thing that I was also that on this journey that I've been on, also learning about what I've been learning about. One thing that I've come to realize too is that, you know, in order for us to have a good past, good future, we need to wish for a better past too.
Yeah.
And hope and change the past as well. And that's what I guess the journey that we're on at the moment is changing the past and changing how the past is told rather than what the past actually is.
Yeah, we need to share her story.
Yes, we do. We
need
actually
more
do.
the feminine, right?
Yeah.
We need to bring it back into balance. It's been too masculine dominated. We need to come back into balance. It's within self as well as in everything around us. through the feminine
Hardly,
energy. Mm.
hardly agree
Harmony,
with that.
harmony, balance, neutrality.
It's all
That,
about that balance. It's all about the yin and the yang, the black
that's
and the
it.
white, the
That's it.
up and the down, the left and the right.
That's it. I'm
Yeah.
lucky being a Libra. I'm always need balance. Scales, the scales.
I'm Leo, so I'm all fire.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
fire.
need some balance. Otherwise, it's all heat. It's
You
not
need
good.
you need the air. To,
Yeah.
you need the wind to bring your flame.
Keep it going. Yeah. No, nothing needs to keep this going now. This flame's fucking lit and ready, and it just
Yeah,
carries on.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, what I looking at, like now that we're looking at sort of the past with Māoris and the history that we're going into in today's society, you can see obviously we've intertwined. It's we're so mixed in now. You find pockets of people living like the old way as such, still. But in saying that, the traumas on Māori themselves, like you're healing so many of them at the moment. Like, what is there any main thing that you're finding in the healing, or is there just so much stuff mixed in from the colonizations and from the way that we've been treated, the suppression of our language to the suppression of our culture,
I
throughout
mean,
New
it's
Zealand.
so deep, It's so
Mm,
deep. There's so many different aspects and angles of the healing journey. But what I find is the disconnect. Yeah, obviously through the colonization, but broken homes, our families. I found that was a big one, as well as for me, is doing the healing with your whānau.
yeah,
That's where it starts. That's the root of all. And yeah, is healing in your whānau, healing with your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister. And yeah, I think
stepping
that's the
forward into
core
your power,
where
eh?
that's the core where it needs to go.
Yeah,
Yeah. But not everyone has that, the families and stuff. So it's
yeah,
fine.
it's a hard one.
With your family, yeah. It's a big, big topic, and it's yeah.
You
Acceptance, acknowledging within yourself. You will know in your puku, in your gut, when it's time to start the work on
yeah.
yourself. You will know. Yeah.
So you've also and one of, like, as we sort of starting to close this out at the moment here, and we're going to look at getting you back in again too. You're also doing your female groups, your work with a lot of Māori and Pacific Island women, bringing in these groups to help with healing and all that, and their Wairoa healing and their trans, not trans, their intergenerational.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going to transgenerational. No, it was intergenerational traumas and things like that. Like, that must have been that for you to step into that and to do that. Was it what did it take for you inside to go, all right, fuck, it's like I've got to start doing this, and start helping where I can, like. And what has that done? And what is also that done for you personally too?
Yeah. Well, you see, my whole life I've known that I was here for a reason and that I was going to serve the people. I had visions since I was a little girl that I was serving humanity, serving these people. But I didn't know to the extent. And so I've had to, through my own healing journey, I've been able to explore the healing realm and just trying and having the courage to get out there and teach as well as speak from my own personal experiences, because that's the authentic that's the where authenticity is when you can speak from your own experiences and not from a book or having your own personal experiences, because that's how you can relate to the people, because you've been through that journey, so you understand where people are in their healing journey. And it's just since kind of stepping out, and obviously we had to do a lot of healing when coming out of the military, because I was in a deep depression as well, because coming out from such a intense place. There needs to be more care around that actually when people come out, because it can be unhealthy. But yeah, to do all of that healing, and once I started releasing, letting go, moving forward, I just felt myself shifting into this, whoa, I am now going to step into helping others finally. Yeah, it's taken a long time to get there, because I had to heal a lot to even get to where I am now. Yeah.
Now, do you enjoy it?
I love it. I love it. I love what I do. To be honest, I don't even know what I do. I just live. Like just me every day. You can't even say this is a job. Like what I'm doing. I don't even, like, because I do a bit of romi romi, miri miri, breath work, and a whole lot of different variety of me.
Yep.
And it all kind of weaves and flows. I'm trying to step away from the system completely and not be tied down to that anymore. The military was enough for me, and so just being able to weave and flow and trust in self and know that we're always divinely guided. you know yeah
Oh, that's good.
Leading
I'm
me to
glad
where
you
I
enjoy
am.
it.
I love it. I love it. I don't even know what it is, but I love what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, it's pretty
Now
much
I
the
know.
same. Pretty much the same with me at the moment. Like I love what I'm doing, even though I probably can't really tell you what I'm doing. But
We're just being, right?
yeah,
That's
we're just
what we're
being.
doing. We are being.
Yeah, we're being as creative as we can too. And,
Yeah.
it's about creativity and doing things, completely different. I sit down and teach as well. I teach every Thursday, Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Have my own classes there, and also doing this podcast. That's coming
Yeah.
from the world where I came from as a mechanical engineer and a mechanic to doing what I'm doing now is just, it's mind blowing, and it's been in 6 months. It's not just something that I've been building up with, for years. I always knew that, I've been researching this stuff for over 20 years now.
Yeah.
And now stepping into this completely, it's not an easy realm to be stepping out into
Yeah. Well,
on your own, but it's well worth that big leap, isn't it?
so, and can I just say that, like, you've helped me a lot on this journey through you being yourself and just speaking from the heart. You have zero fucks. And
Yeah,
that's what a lot of us need more of,
yeah,
is that strength to just do it. Hey,
yeah.
do
Well, I
it. Just
think,
be it. Just be you. Be, yeah.
yeah, I think for myself, like it was when I got through that post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety and depression that I was like, fuck, if I can do it, I'm sure everyone else can do it. Like, and then, and then obviously when 2020 hit and COVID started hitting, I was like, oh shit, I've got to start saying something now. It's been 20 years.
Mm.
I've always spoken to my mates and that about it, but I was, don't even tell us, you're just another crackpot, get off the drugs, even though I don't touch any touch any of it. It was just like, for 20 years I sat around maybe being able to talk to two or three people about it. And then when 2020 came, it was just like, I honestly, I don't really know why. I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to start talking out. But then when I did, and then people started to, I was like, oh, okay, hang on, there are people that are sort of waking up around this world. And then when it came to, it just naturally progressed into a point where now I've got to speak in front of public, and I've got to use my voice, and it just, I haven't questioned it once. I'm going to be honest. I've never sat back and gone, nah, I better not say anything because I don't want to get in trouble with the government, or
Yeah.
I want to. It's
It's
never
all
ever.
yeah. Wide was just
Yeah,
just go, go, go.
yeah.
This is what you're doing. Boom, boom, boom.
Like
Make it
it doesn't,
happen.
and it hasn't ever made me hesitate either. It's always had my back. I've always trusted my intuition 100%. So, if my intuition says leave, I leave. If my intuition says speak, I speak. If it says don't speak, I don't speak. It all comes down to what my intuition's telling me at the end of the day. But yeah, I think for a lot of people out there too, to go out there and to be who you are, you just literally just like, when I'm standing, like for instance, when I stood on the stage at Wellington and done my speech down in Wellington, probably in front of about, what was it, probably about between 8 and 10,000 people there at that stage. I just picked these two dudes out of the crowd that I just kept my eyes on. Like, one was on my left hand side, one was on my right hand side. Two older Māori gentlemen. They probably won't even know who they
I
are.
remember you saying this story. Yeah, yeah.
But all I did was, one of them was just, he would give me the nod every now and then. So I'd look at him and he'd be like, yeah. And I knew that I was on the right path. And they both had mokos too as well. They both had full mokos on their face.
I think about
But those two out of the whole crowd, I just kept my eyes on, and just kept moving from left to right. When I was on the left hand of the stage, it was him, right hand of the stage, him. And then it's just internalizingly, just really not, you just can't care what people have to say. Like, you just have to let it go. Like,
taking your power back.
Yeah, the first, like, people say to me, oh, you don't look nervous at all going on there. Huh, you don't know how many times I've nearly pissed my pants out the back before I've stepped on stage. Like, but I've got to, how they always say, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally try that. Like, for anyone out there, fake your own confidence until that faking confidence becomes the confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
But confidence is key. Yeah,
Do it, be it. Yeah, yeah. It's so powerful, eh? When we reclaim back our power, our sovereignty.
Yeah, because the other thing that not, a lot of people say knowledge is power. Knowledge is true power. And then I get people come to me and say, well, knowledge isn't power unless it's applied. Well, and my way of looking at that is that with knowledge comes your confidence. So the more knowledge you actually have, your confidence grows within. So as you learn more, you're taking your power back at the same time.
You are.
Because then you have the confidence to say, hang on, no, I know that's not correct. I know that's not right.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to stand up or say something or do something,
It's the more your heart opens, the more beauty and more beauty you will discover.
Yeah, we'll pull through it. Yeah.
And within the world.
All right. So what are we at? Well, we're just gone now, but we'll
sorry
start
about that.
Nah, you're all right. We'll close her up now. Like I said earlier, we'll get you back to dive more, deeper into a lot of some of your Reikis and your healing, and obviously we've got fucking a few years of information to talk about now.
There's so much, hey. There's so much.
It's a lot to unpack.
Such a beautiful platform to be able to discuss and express these
thank
things.
you.
So thank you.
No, you're welcome. But last things last is look, have you got anything out there that you would like to leave the people with? Is there any, wording or saying, or have you got anything for the people that you just want to leave them with? Mic is yours.
Probably Wow, Tamanutera has just like beamed right on my face.
Yeah, I can see that. Shine your lights, sis.
Like, oh. No, it's simple, just to love yourself, and by loving yourself, doing the inner work, the healing on yourself. That's loving yourself. Knowing that you are not alone in this space, and to lean on each other, lean on your friends, lean on those you can trust, to speak to confide in, yeah, and get out in nature more. Get out in nature, go hug some trees, go and, I don't know, play with the dirt. Reconnect yourself, to remember and to be able to tap in and find your gifts that are very deep within you, because they are there, they're wanting to come out. They are wanting to come out, sitting dormant in your whare tangata, your womb. That's where mine's been sitting for a long time until as of recent. So yeah, just go and do it. Do the thing.
There you go. Go do the thing, people. Go out there and do the thing. You know, go out there and look after each other and find yourself inside yourself, isn't it? So thank you very much, Mikayla, for coming on and giving me your time. I know that time is the most important thing. It's more important than any currency out there. So I appreciate.
There is no time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kidding.
But no,
Yeah.
thank you for giving up. You know, whatever you want to call it, whether it be time or energy. Yeah, I appreciate everything that you are doing for everyone out there in this movement. You know, everyone always sort of looks to certain people, and I know that you're one that you know, people tend to look to as well at times, and just know that, you know, I know you probably get a good message every now and then to say thank you, but just know that you're doing the right thing. We all on the right journey, and nothing is right and nothing is wrong. Just everything is being us, and I appreciate everything that you do for the people out there and the movement, and especially me as well. You know, the hour-long conversations when I'm like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck everything. You know, I don't want to do anything anymore, and I get the chat from you. It's normally you or Jim that keeps me level-headed. So and then there's Woke out there too, the fucking 3 fairies that are going to be in our book.
I love your Woke. And Jim, yeah.
Actually, just while we're there, sorry, just while we're there, before we head off, we are coming out with a book. Mikayla will be featured in the book as well. The book is called The Adventures of the Rainbow Tribe. Now, just for everyone out there, it's not the Rainbow Tribe as in the LGBTQ rainbow. It is in the prophecies of the Hopi tribe of the Native Americans of the world around. So we have written a children's book of that, which Mikayla, Jem, and Haley, or AKA Woke, will be the 3 fairies in that book. So thank you for giving me your entity and allowing me to use your entity.
Thank you for even including me into that space. I feel really honored to freaking even just walk this journey with you, man.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Epic, hey. I just want to say thank you so much for how much you have helped me through coming out of the military life as well, and always having my back when I'm getting attacked from all angles. So I appreciate it.
No, you are more than welcome. You are absolutely more than welcome. Now, all right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for giving us your time as well. You all your watchers out there and listeners out there, thank you for giving us your time as well and tuning in and watching. So just know that you know, as we go along on this journey, that life is life, and we are having a human experience at the same time as well. But just also remember that, you all are beautiful and you all are loved, all right? And that you're all perfectly imperfect. This is a mind game and it's a mind war, and when we do this thing, it's all they want is our soul or our mind. So as long as we keep our own thoughts and we keep our own soul, and we're going to be okay. But last but not least, go out there and trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and the most important thing on this journey is to go out there and remember who the
You know who the
fuck you
fuck
are.
you are.
There you go. Go out there and remember who the fuck you are, because once you do that, they can't take anything away from you there. That you have all the power that you need. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, your afternoon, your morning, your night, wherever you are. We appreciate you. So other than that, we're done. Ka kite, che che whānau.
Love you all.